Win big with new DRF All Access Past Performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all three past performance formats. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code 1FREEPP for a free single card today.
Dan Illman, Mike Beer kicking off a 50-cent pick 5 at Oaklawn Park on Arkansas Derby Saturday with some salty older campaigners going a 2-turn mile in race number 9. Let's take a look at the field for the Oaklawn Mile. Purse here is $500,000, and it is the seasonal debut for the 6. Last Samurai, who's banked over $2.2 million in lifetime earnings. We haven't seen him since Saratoga, but he was in that day against 2 horses that went on to win Breeders' Cup races.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, something clearly went wrong from there in the Whitney. Danny's eased in that race, but that was the final start of what was a really good run of form for this horse. For his most recent trainer, D. Wayne Lucas. Trainer change here, layoff here. I don't know. You can feel free to disagree, Dan. If this horse is ready off the layoff and runs his A race, he beats this field.
Oh, I think he's the best horse in this race. He might want a little bit more ground than a 2-turn mile, but certainly his form speaks for itself, especially at Oaklawn Park. Let's throw up the Timeform US Pace Projector. We'll see where they have the number 6 Last Samurai settling near the back of the pack. The 8 Silver Prospector, hey, he's a millionaire, and it's always nice to see him back on the track. He's got some speed. So does Nautical Star, who's stretching out. But looking over these PPs, Mike, there really aren't that many burners in here. I wonder if this pace is going to be very fast.
Yeah, I didn't see, I'm with you there. I didn't see a ton of pace in this race. I sort of felt like Midnight Rising, the 4, was going to come out of there running and be up close. I don't think he needs to be on the lead, Dan, but this horse is up in class after winning his first 2 dirt starts of his career. I think they're going to go forward with that horse.
3.5-month layoff for the number 1 Nautical Star, who will be making his first start around 2 turns since a disastrous performance in the Florida Derby and only his 3rd lifetime start last year. He's always shown some ability as a late-running sprinter, as evidenced by his race at Oaklawn Park last time out, a second-level allowance over a wet track. He didn't break very well. He has a lot of work to do in the stretch, and he storms down the center of the track to take it.
Yeah, good finish from this horse here. He comes with a big late run to close this thing down. And I don't think the wet track had that much to do with it, although you never know with these kinds of things. It's really all about distance and obviously a little bit of class too, Dan. I mean, he's got a lot to prove at this level, and stretching out against a field like this one, that just sort of adds to the difficulties for this horse.
Another horse coming off a 3+ month layoff is the 2 Dennington, who tried 9 furlongs last time out in the Tinsel Stakes. He faced a couple of next out winners, and the winner of that race would come back to run second in the Grade 3 Essex behind the classy First Mission, earning a 93 Beyer speed figure. The problem with Dennington is he's kind of a one-paced horse that needs some pace help. I'm not sure he's going to get it here.
Yeah, that was my big concern with him too. I actually feel like he fits with these horses though, Dan, and I feel like he's going to be an okay price in this race. So I kind of wanted to use him somewhere. Very concerned though that this race won't set up for him because he does not have a lot of early speed.
Maybe the 3 Logical Myth will try to get forward. He's got tactical speed. He was a pace-pressing winner against much weaker horses in an off-turf race at Sam Houston 3 starts back. 3rd last time out to Silver Prospector. Really didn't see the excuse that day.
Me either. I didn't. He was one of the horses in here. I just didn't think it was good enough to beat this field unless, something happens and some other horses get into trouble and he just finds himself in the right spot. Because he does have that kind of a running style, Dan, but I didn't see the race that he's run that makes me want to bet him against this field.
The 4 Midnight Rising showed some ability on both in turf and synthetic earlier in his career. He is now a perfect 2 for 2 on dirt after this victory, a second-level allowance at Oaklawn where he got right up close to the pace, assumed command turning for the home, and struts home a comfortable winner. He's lightly raced enough that maybe you can project upside, and he is not going to be compromised by the way this race is going to be run. He's going to be close to a moderate pace.
That's exactly right. He could fall into a really good trip here. Obviously, he's got something to prove here moving up in class, but to me, he's looked really good winning his first 2 dirt starts. Even in this one, he could have been on the lead here, Dan. They throttled him up the backstretch to sit off another horse, and you saw how easy he won through the stretch.
Necker Island's going to try 2 turns in his first start off about a 3-month layoff. He had no chance last time out in against one of the better sprinters in the country in Skelly, who would come back to win the King Cotton with a 105 Beyer speed figure. He was only beaten a few lengths that day. The mile is a little bit of a question mark, especially off the layoff. He's tried this race the last couple of years off the board both times.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I understand that there's a case to be made that he's a better sprinter, but you can go way back in his PPs there, and he's fine going at least a mile. They've just sort of concentrated on sprints the last couple of years. I guess with some success. He doesn't win that often. I didn't really like him in this race.
He was a millionaire who ran in the Kentucky Derby in 2020. Last Samurai is the 6. He's the horse to beat despite the layoff, Mike, because we've seen those gigantic numbers he ran at Oaklawn last year, winning the Razorback, winning the Essex, just missing in the prestigious Oaklawn Handicap to a very talented horse in Proxy. The waters got deeper in races like the Ali Sheba, the Foster, and the Whitney, and he couldn't step with those horses. Against this company, he's real tough.
Yeah, this is a great spot for this horse. And listen, there's a chainer change to deal with here too. He's not with Lucas anymore. Lucas does tend to win races over this track every year, and you can see he had this horse real good here last year with those 3 really big efforts. He's the horse to beat in here. We'll see what kind of price he is, and then it's your call what you want to do with him off the layoff.
Another horse racing off of a trainer change is the 7 Frosted Grace, who was classy enough to win the Grade 3 Steve Sexton Mile around 2 turns last spring at Lone Star Park, and he got back to his winning ways against 62,500 claimers this race back at Oaklawn in the middle of January. And Frosted Grace was able to sit off the pace in here. He makes a nice move on the outside, and he's able to get up. He is a horse with back class, Mike, and tactical speed, and it's not like he doesn't fit with these sort of horses. 24 of 45 in the exacta and a graded stakes winner already.
Oh yeah, he definitely fits with these horses with his good race. And I also just really appreciate that he has tactical speed. That he's going to get a good trip in here, which I also like about him. I don't want to shade over the trainer change. I know he's going to Maker, and Maker wins a lot of races. Diodoro claimed this horse for 32,000 at the end of 2022. He got this horse real good. Maker's going to have to keep him like that.
Another past winner of the Steve Sexton Mile is in here, and that's the 8 Silver Prospector, who winters, it seems, every year at Oaklawn and comes up with a dependable effort more often than not. He's banked close to $1.5 million, and he's coming into this race off of a win in a high-level allowance over the mile distance, and he has tactical speed. He makes the lead in the stretch, and it was nice to see him get back to his old form. He's run well in all 3 starts this meet.
Yes, he's a good horse. He's another horse who can get the right trip in this race. The mile feels like it's probably his best distance. He can get a little further than this, but I think the mile is probably his very best distance, Dan. He can win here. He's just the kind of horse who I never like to take any kind of even close to short price on this horse, and it feels like he won't be a great price in here.
Let's take a look at our top selections in the Oaklawn Mile. We're both going to go with Frosted Grace. You make a good point. Diodoro's a high percentage guy. He got this horse good. We usually like Maker off the trainer change. And I think it's a confident move putting him up into the stakes race.
Yeah, I agree. I like the spot for him. I think he fits right in here. I think there's a good trip coming. So I'm going to stick with this horse. I liked his most recent start. I know it was against weaker horses. I thought he ran really well. And I'm going to take him and hope that the 6 in this race needs one off the layoff.
7-6-4-2 for Mike. That's my thought. I think Last Samurai is going to get pounded at the windows, and maybe he'll need one and a little bit more ground. 7-4-8-2 for me. I think the 4 is going to be a strong pace presence. Great afternoon of racing expected at Oaklawn on Saturday. Arkansas Derby Day, and race number 9 kicks off a 50-cent pick 5.